It's Final Fantasy XIII, the first game in the series for the 360 and PlayStation 3 generation of consoles. A game that, well, didn't quite make the positive splash that everyone was hoping for. Did away with a lot of the conventions common in the series beforehand. Tried to steer everything in a new direction and made a lot of concessions for in favor of higher graphical fidelity and all that kind of stuff. When I first played this game about 8 years ago, I thought it was alright, but I didn't really feel the need to go back to it after then. Well, here we are, 2018, and I played about 4 hours of it last week, and I figured, wow, this game is a lot better than I remember it. The story was a lot better, even the gameplay had a lot more tactical polish to it than I was expecting that I remembered. So I figured, hey, why not give it another go? Give it a try. Play this game a little bit. And, well, here we are. Let's jump into this. I can change the difficulty midway through the game if I feel like, so, here we go.
The 13 days after we awoke were the beginning of the end.
You serious?
Be quiet.
Best of luck. She did it! Hands high! Freeze! You alright? I'm not a fal'cie. So far, so good. They all want to fight.
Good for them. Give me that. What the...
Okay, we get to start playing the game now. It's a whole different battle system than what we had seen up until this point. So they felt the need to give you a tutorial at the beginning. And not only that, in a way, the first 6 hours of the game are a tutorial. Because it slowly introduces new concepts into the game mechanics over that time. Stretching it out over a period of time which could be as little as 20 minutes. They took hours and hours to do. I am not going to go through this tutorial because screw that noise. Needless to say that it's a little... one of the things that people didn't really like is this whole auto battle thing. The characters are more or less playing the game themselves. You're directing them to a certain extent. But the reality is that, Lightning's not going to do anything while I'm just standing here. If I tell her to attack, she'll attack, but she's going to make the decision on what to attack, how to attack, and all that kind of shit.
Not so tough now, huh? Hey, that wasn't like a challenge now, all right? Hey! Coming up! I'm coming!
Heads up.
This thing won't give up.
Okay, we're going to fight it again. Not going to be any harder than before, so just go and attack it. Well, I guess taking a little bit more of a beating, and it's got this wave cannon ability, but our character's so overpowered at this early part of the game that we're not going to have to worry too much about that. Once we get through this fight, then I'll be able to talk a little bit about what's going on. Lightning's almost down.
We did it. Hey! Aren't you supposed to protect civilians, soldier? I mean, you are sanctum, aren't you? What are you doing trying to stop the purge? Why don't you tell me that?
I was a soldier.
Hey, where do you think you're going? Jungle Boat, we just can't catch a break, can we? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, better follow up. I'm getting too old for this.
Okay, skip over that tutorial.
You sure we can get through here?
Alright, we have two characters. We have Saz over there, and we have Lightning here. Now, we're going to get more characters pretty soon. But let's just take a ganders at our characters' stats. Everything is kind of low right now. She has both higher strength and magic than Saz, although he does have higher HP. Not by much, but as the game progresses, that difference is going to become more pronounced. So essentially the way to look at it is kind of like Lightning is a more attack-heavy character, but she's kind of a glass cannon. She has some of the lowest HP in the entire game, and defense and all that kind of stuff. But she can do crazy damage. Saz, I'm not quite sure where he falls in the spectrum. Other characters, though, will, as they appear, will get a fuller picture. We are in an area called the Hanging Gardens. So what had happened was, now I'm going to be revealing some things that normally you wouldn't be reading about or hearing about in the game until later on. But a bunch of people from a town called Bodum in the planet, I guess you'd call it, of Cocoon, were gathered up and stuck on this train. They call it the Purge. People were afraid of some contact with an alien entity that was found in the area. So the idea was that all these people were going to go, oh man, those shadows look terrible. That these people were going to be gathered up and stuck on a train and then sent down to another planet called Pulse. Well, the Lightning didn't like that, so she went and hijacked the train and started this whole thing. Can I change the graphics settings in here? Whatever, let's continue. There's a save point up there. Oh. Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that you're going to be seeing through the entire game. You're going to have the characters running down tunnels and then see save points or shops or any of that kind of stuff. And you'll just get a lot of it's tunnels, fights, tunnels, fights, tunnels, fights, tunnels, fights, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't break up the gameplay enough, and that's probably the biggest complaint I would have about this game. But enough complaining. Let's get moving. Okay. Fight against regular enemies, not a boss battle this time. Oh, now we do have some options, like Blitz is an ability that Lightning has where it attacks multiple opponents, provided that they're close together. Now you don't actually have control over your character's movements, and you can't control where the enemies are going to be, so if they just happen to be clustered together, Blitz works out well. Unfortunately, also, your characters have a tendency to cluster up, and you don't. If your characters cluster up, they can be hit by similar attacks. Jumpy, jump, jump. Jump. Another fight. Now, this game is going to, this playthrough is going to be a little bit awkward. Episodes are going to begin and end in kind of awkward locations. And because I'm going to try and keep the different character parts together. So I'll have episodes that are happen to be like only a couple of minutes, and other episodes like this one, which is going to be closer to 20 minutes. Not many of them are probably going to get longer than that, though, unless they have long boss battles or something. I'm going to start skipping over the fights that are just repeats pretty soon. See, now here's a good opportunity to use Blitz. Hits multiple enemies, but also uses up 2 attack points as opposed to 1. Ah, see, that enemy moved. And then Lightning went to attack him as he moved. So he wasn't standing next to the other one, so the attack wasn't quite as effective. Now, overall, auto battle, for the most part, will take these kinds of things into account and make the proper decision, but every once in a while you're going to have to jump in there and make the changes on your own. And then you'll, the best way to have the fighting. And the game and the battle system is going to get more complex as we get further into the game, as more of it are unlocked. Because the first 10 hours of it or something like that have a long, sort of drawn-out tutorial fashion. Here are the treasure chests, what they look like. They're not that well hidden in this game, at least not like in the earlier games. Oh, also note that I picked up a potion, curative item, but notice that the health on my characters has been restored. Happens at the end of every fight, so long dungeon runs aren't a problem on your mana or your items, because you don't really need to use items to restore at the end of fights, and actually mana doesn't even exist in this game. Your magic attacks and your physical attacks might as well be one and the same, really.
Not wanting to get purged, I get. But taking on trained soldiers?
Better to die than get sent to Pulse. It's hell.
Yeah, well, hell's not sounding too bad. 'Cause this place ain't exactly paradise.
Domesticated peacekeepers. Nothing to worry about.
Maybe not for a soldier girl, but I'm trying to say, hey!
Alright, Blitz is a good one here. Hit all three of them. And then Saz wiped out that second kitty. They're still close enough together. Blitz is still a good idea. For some reason, the game won't auto-battle that. Oh, stagger. That's another feature. Notice what's happening in the top right corner. You see a bar building up as the fight goes on. Every time it's attacked, eventually it gets to the point where it becomes staggered. If it becomes staggered, then your attacks like increase damage like 100% or something like that. Treasure chest up here. Two potions. Haven't used a single one yet.
No need to be pushing now.
You are in the way. Here are the shops. There aren't towns in this game. So here's how the shops work. You have these items and these little kiosks here. They'll appear often enough in the game. Then, like, as you get further in, other shops will appear in the same kiosk with different buying options and all that kind of stuff.
Must be real nice from up there.
New type of enemy. Haha. Nope, not close together. Oh, nope, I got him anyway. Should have flown out of the way so I couldn't reach you. Oh wait, no, that weapon that Lightning has is sort of like this game's take on the gun blades that we had seen in Final Fantasy VIII. But in this case, it's a little more of a literal version of that. It is both a sword and a gun. She occasionally uses it as a gun. For the most part, she runs around using it like it's a sword. Now I got an iron bangle. That increases HP by 50, which is good for Lightning because her health is so low. Actually, now since she's wearing some equipment, her health is actually higher than Saz's, so she is better in every way. Huh. Alright. Oh, what are you doing all the way up here? Oh, look at that thing. Oh. I guess I could have run past these guys. Oh, it's the way I came. Oh, there's a treasure chest over here. $50 gil. Because the game has such a linear fashion, it's actually probably best off to fight every enemy you see.
Preemptive strike.
Rebels.
Oh yeah, preemptive.
So much for the element of surprise.
Yeah, I don't need that. Probably another... Oh, there's a store up there. Oh, damn.
no time.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Quiet.
Hey! Wait! No, don't leave me!
Let go!
The hell no! You're the only way out of here! No, Hey, that might get us across. Right there. Right?
Looks that way.